All right, guys. I think we're live. I always have to say that because, we're dealing with OBS. I never know. I see the green light on there, but I never know when it's actually showing via YouTube. So I'm going to wait a few seconds before I do the intro. Looks like it's coming right now. So let's make sure. And wow, it's playing an advertisement.
So,
Isn't
in my
that
last
crazy?
video, I unboxed the diamond
video.
play button in order to celebrate 10
I
million
think we're coming
subscribers
on live
here on
right
YouTube.
now.
Said it. Yeah, it's live.
I never know. I see the green light on there, but I never know when yet. All right, and it seems like it's public because if Smitty is able to see it, say it's live, then it should be public. So welcome, guys, to the latest episode of the Sim Standard Podcast. I am SimFBallCritic along with Smitty, and we'll see who else will show up tonight. I know Stack 360 205, as you guys would know him, he wants to come on, so I'll shoot him an invite very shortly. Stack, if you're watching, listening, what have you, we just need your Skype address. If you have a Skype, we'll just need your Skype information. I don't know if we've had you on. I think we did have you on one time. So I'll check as well to see if I already have you on Skype. I think I do, so I'll do that really quick as we give our quick introductions. Guys, what we're going to talk about today, man. Wait a minute, I see something in the comments. Oh, okay, somebody says, I missed this. It's been a while. What's up, Deron? Appreciate you coming through. Is 757 still around? Yes, he is. We kind of talk a little more offline now, so, he's laid in the cut a little more, but he is still around. But anyway, what's up, guys, man? Episode 201. You can see what the title is about. Madden NFL 19 beta. Will it be a success? That's going to be our main topic, but I will let you know that we'll cover quite a bit of things under that umbrella. Smitty, I'm sure you already know where I'm going, but I want us to give our thoughts on the beta in general, not gameplay, guys. We can't tell you, we have to say this all the time, and I'm sure we'll say it 100 times throughout the night. We cannot give you any information in regards to the beta, how the game is feeling, how the game is playing, what's this, what's that, what's missed. We're unable to do that. It's a part of the agreement that we had to agree to participating in the beta. If you don't believe that, just look at the people who've gotten it on Twitter. It clearly states, even as they're giving you codes out, we just ask that you do not give any feedback in terms of publicly, use the feedback form, etc., etc. So we can't give you that much. What we can talk about, and what I want to talk about, is the manner in which the beta came out, whether we think it was a good thing to have the beta in general, whether we think it was a good idea to start throwing them out there like hotcakes, whether we think feedback will get lost in translation, etc., etc. So it's a lot to cover under that umbrella, and I'm just giving you a piece of it. What we also want to talk about a little bit, man, Smitty was actually bringing me up to speed on some news just a few moments ago in regards to NBA Live 19, so I'm sure he will bring that part up when we get to that. But what I wanted to discuss in regards to NBA Live 19, with all of the news that we're hearing about now, the live, the new commentary team. I actually got a video that will probably be releasing maybe midnight or 3 a.m. or whatever. I have it auto set, kind of talking about that. But I want to talk about, Smitty, is NBA Live 19, do we think it might be able to close the gap a little bit in terms of just on the hardwood? We're not talking about totality. We're just talking about on the hardwood. And then also, Smitty, to get the show started, man, to ruffle feathers a little bit, I love when Smitty talks about these basketball players. I want to get your thoughts real quick, Smitty, before we dive into the game and stuff. Man, what's going to happen with Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, and PG-13? What do you see in your eyes is going to happen with these three players? And I know, we can spend all night on this, but just quickly, where do you see these guys ending up? Where do you think they should end up? And last question, do you think all three of them will end up on the Lakers?
If they all, well, I mean, I'm not with the whole super team culture in the first place. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? That's not the era I grew up in, but at the same time, I never would have played. I don't know. I would never play a sport to purposely say, you know what, I'm one of the best in the land, so I need two of the other best in the land in order to possibly have a shot. I wouldn't do anything like that. But, like, I'm just not with that mindset of having to do that. And it's not that you have to do it. You don't have to do that. You have to have a legit team, but you don't have to have a superstar staff, so to speak, in terms of being able to compete. So I still think that's a corny move either way if all three of those guys decide to get together. Like, they had the texts out there saying they was playing around KD and LeBron or whatever, the leak screen capture of the text. Kawhi saying, I only want to go to LA. I haven't listened to every single detail of that, but and then the whole thing, Paul George, you got a documentary kind of thing going on with ESPN journalizing your decision. So it's like, is it already foregone? Like, you already know what you're going to do, and it's basically going to end saying, I'm going here. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that all in all, if they do end up together, I mean, this is the NBA culture that's created at this point. This is that culture, and I mean, I know it's like, how you gonna compete against Golden State without a team like that? You don't have to have a team like that. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is have a legit team, legit components, and you can beat these guys. Like, look at what the Rockets were able to do. You know what I'm saying? They pushed them boys to 7 games. LeBron, they could have pushed them boys if they actually developed their team. They could actually do better. They could have done way better. That series could have at least went 6 games, at least. And they could have possibly won. The Cavs could have possibly took it. So I'm not going to put it past nobody, because you know what? When I look at like I said, when my 2004 Pistons won, the exact same thing was said about that team. We don't have a superstar player. It's a superstar league. You have the Vince Carters, the T-Macs, the AIs, Kobe and Shaq, all that stuff, Duncan, Ginobili, and all them, Dirk, Steve Nash, and everything. You had all these players, all these star players, all on different teams and all that. But the Pistons really did not have a bona fide superstar at all. We had a great defender in Ben, but we didn't have this bona fide superstar. Yet, look at what we were able to do. Like, we virtually shut out the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? When everybody under the sun, man, Pistons aren't a running gun team. They don't have anything flashy to them. They don't have a featured star. They don't have this, don't have that. They're not going to honestly be able to win in this league. What did they do? They completely changed that logic and dominated cats on the defensive side of the ball, and they played off. They played a nice half-court offense, and they had component pieces. We didn't have no breakaway superstars off the bench. You know what I'm saying? Corliss Williamson, Mehmet Okur, who else? Eldon Campbell, Mike James, Lindsey Hunter. Like,
Eldon Campbell.
We didn't have. Yeah, wow. That's what I'm saying. Like,
him,
we didn't have beasts. You know what I'm saying, on our team. So that's what I'm just saying. Like, we got it done. And I mean, like I said, Ben was a beast. He was an animal on defense. She'd fit right into the fold with what we was doing, but we didn't have that kind of squad, and it worked. So that's why I'm just saying, like, if you get a squad and you make it work with the talent that you got, you could compete with anyone. So, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that Golden State can't get off and hit threes, but think about it. If you can contest a decent number of those three-point shots because you got the chemistry and the understanding as a team to go up against them, you can beat those guys. Even in a 7-game series, them boys can get beat. So that's what I'm just saying. But this is the culture of deference. I can't win over here. I got to go join these other two superstars, and hopefully we can get it done together and all that. I ain't with all that, man. I'm really not. Like I said, OKC, you had Victor Oladipo. This dude beast out in Indiana, but the bottom line is he could have been that in OKC if you just adjust the game plan. You could have had those two guys running it, and just the rest of your team just evolve around those guys, build up some moxie, and go at it. That team could have possibly beat Golden State. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm just saying, dude. I'm just saying it's a whole different era of basketball at this point, and it just ain't the same, man. But I watch the NBA. It'll be fun season. It's going to be a fun off season. But honestly, I would hope that LeBron stays in Cleveland, use his last few years, and actually build that team up to be left in good hands. But, he wants to try and get a chip. He's going to be forever chasing MJ as far as the legacy thing. So if he really wants to go down that road, I don't know. So we'll see what happens. But, no, that's my take. I just don't like the whole super team thing, but I mean, it makes for good entertainment. Like what my man Dez has said, it's like wrestling out here. You know what I mean? It's great. It's great for entertainment, yeah. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a foregone conclusion. I mean, look, NBA playoffs were entertaining until the finals. People already knew, like, man, Cleveland done. They made the finals. They're going to get blasted, and they did. They did. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, look, LeBron. This is what the dagger was for me with the whole LeBron legacy, LeBron Jordan thing. When you got Steph Curry, all players, Steph Curry, 6'3", 200 pounds or 189, whatever his weight is. That little fella set a weak screen against you, and you could have switched over to KD. You could have brushed past him like, get this cat out of the way. I'm D'ing up KD. If he gonna bust that three, he gonna have to hit it on me. This dude deferred it and just said, nope, I'm gonna take Steph. I'm gonna let whomever else get it. And this dude basically stuck the dagger. You let KD dagger you twice. He closed this sucker out on you 2 times like that. He killed you. You're done. That's your legacy falls all the way off when you do that. That's what I'm saying. LeBron's one of the greatest ever. But I'm saying when it came time to shine, and I mean, look, he padded excellent stats. But there's critical moments of games where you just can't step away from like that. And that's something you got to rise to the occasion on. And you did. So I'm sorry, dude. You said Rasheed Wallace called WWE. Yeah, it is. It is. So, but that's all. I'm gonna back off of it because I can keep talking about it. But it's gonna be entertaining in what was it in a few days? You know what I mean? We're gonna see what happens. It'll be fun. So it'll be fun. I'm just gonna sit back and watch the fireworks. Pistons ain't got a dog in the fight, so hey, I ain't worried about it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. I've been hearing that they said that Philly might be trying to make a run at Kawhi, and I'm like, man, listen, Philly. I feel like this about Philly, and I'll be real brief so we can, jump into the Madden and the NBA Live stuff. I think we got a nice little team, man. Nice little component. I think we do need another. We need another guy that could create his own shot. Markelle Fultz might have been able to bend that. Obviously he got injured, so that never translated. And then, he was basically on the bench for the rest of the season. I understand maybe why. Maybe the coach didn't want to mess up that chemistry. But if you think about it, we got Embiid and we got Simmons, which right now on paper, these dudes are probably could very well be superstars in the league. But you need another guy. I wouldn't be mad at a Kawhi Leonard. I don't want LeBron James. Now, I know people are going to say, Sam, you must be crazy. You wouldn't take LeBron James? Of course I would take LeBron James. But let's face it, man. LeBron is going into, his 15th, 16th season. I'm thinking more long term. I'm also thinking if LeBron was in Philly, guess what that does? It takes the ball out of the hands of Ben Simmons. I don't want a team where Ben Simmons can't also do that when he wants to. But I would love to have another guy there that can create his own shot. So therefore, you don't have to rely on Embiid going to work down low. You don't have to rely on waiting for Ben Simmons to develop a shot. Maybe he will. You'll have another guy that can get off. And then you can let Ben Simmons bring that rock up. And then maybe if Fultz is still there, every now and then, you can, Fultz can carry the ball up and let Ben roam around and play down, be a mismatch at the 4. It's a lot of opportunity there. So all in all, if they brought anybody in out of those 3, I'll take Kawhi Leonard. Definitely. And Philly in the East, with the two-way player that he is, if he's still healthy, come on. Forget about it. But like Smitty said, man, I'd rather see LeBron stay where he at. Maybe he can recruit somebody to come there, a little more help. I would like to see, I ain't gonna lie, I'd like to see Kawhi Leonard somewhere else. I think that San Antonio ship has sailed. So it'd be cool to see Kawhi somewhere else and see if he can still be the same caliber of player that's not under the tutelage of Popovich. Did y'all just hear me call that man Popovich? And then outside of that, man, Paul George, I'd like to see him stay at OKC, man. I know he wants to go back to LA, but I would love to see him stay at OKC and try to finish things out there with Russ. Him and Russ got a good relationship, so that's how I look at it. But who knows what's going to happen? It could very well be like I told Smitty. All 3 of them fools could end up in the Lakers. Who knows? But we'll see. But anyway, guys, we're going to move on to the next part of the discussion. I see quite a few people are asking if they can come on. And let me give a shout out really quick to Smooth. Definitely appreciate you. And SGO, come on, man. You ain't got to do that. Dropping the quick donation in there. Appreciate that. SGO has said he wants to come on and be a part of the discussion. 205 had already asked a day ago to be on, so we're going to bring him on. I don't know, guys, if we're going to have an opportunity to bring multiple people on tonight. We'll have to see how the discussion is going, but I want to be upfront and honest with you guys. I've seen 2 or 3 more people have asked. I don't know if we're going to do that tonight since we already have a couple people that will already be on the panel. So if we have time, maybe, but, we got to kind of end this thing by 10 o'clock tonight, so we'll see. But SGO, if I don't already, shoot me your Skype. Oh, and matter of fact, I'm bugging. I already got your Skype. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to grab those guys and see if I can get them in. And y'all know we dealing with OBS, so y'all going to see me fiddling with the screen here. So y'all going to see where Smitty is. A couple little things are going to happen here. Y'all are going to see me messing around in Skype to get those guys in. So there's 205, and then I'm going to bring SGO on as well. So, wait, that's the wrong thing. I got to go to our actual call. Where is it? Give me a second, guys. I think it's here. All right, I'm going to add somebody to the call. Looks like Skype has changed up a little bit, guys. It looks a little different. So I'm going to get 205 in there, and then I'm going to get SGO in there. There we go. Let her rip. So we're going to get these guys on, man. Hopefully they pop up here. All right, there's 205, I believe.
No, that's SGO.
Oh, that's SGO. All right, what up, SGO?
Oh, there you go. Yep, 205 in here, too.
All right, we got both of y'all in there. Let me ask you guys and Smitty, because I don't know if I cut the camera on in Skype. Can y'all see me? Like, y'all, not the chat, but can y'all see me?
No, I don't see your...
I see Smitty.
I don't see your cam.
All right, yeah, because I never cut it on, so that's the problem. So let me cut that on so you guys can at least see what I'm doing. Hold on. Y'all should be able to see me now, right?
It's loading.
Yeah, it's loading, but
Oh man, boy, this MacBook, man. All right, man.
I think that's Skype. I don't think that's you because it shows the same thing for me, just loading.
Yeah, it could be.
They see us. I guess people see us on the
They can see us because we
thing.
streaming
Yeah,
through OBS. Well, if
yeah.
we got everybody on here, I guess y'all don't have to see me as long as the audience can see all of us. Is cool. So we got 205 is on there. SGO, you on here too?
Yep, I'm on here. Can
All
you hear me?
right. Yeah,
What
we
up?
can hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah. We hear you, man.
All right, guys. So what we'll do, man? I guess we can let 205 kick it off. Well, let me ask real quick, 205. Are you participating in the beta?
I haven't had a chance. I've tried numerous times, but I can't seem to get a code fast enough for all these young bucks getting them, man.
All right, so what I'll do, man, I'll set this stage. Myself, Smitty, and I'm sure SGO, y'all know we can't go into detail as far as what we're experiencing in the beta. But what I want to talk about from our standpoint, SGO, in case you didn't see the description, I really want to talk about how this beta is being handled, whether it was a good idea, do we agree with the way they threw the codes out eventually, do we think it will be beneficial, or do we think feedback will get lost in translation? But to kick it off with you, 205, since you haven't played, give me your thoughts right now on this beta that is with Madden 19, since you haven't had an opportunity.
Honestly, I feel like the community is acting childish. And this isn't something they don't do all the time because they always are acting this way. But my biggest problem with it right now is that you have people talking about the game is slow, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, the game is changing. We have to adapt to what the developers and how this team is moving. We can't just keep expecting to play the same game constantly every year. And when you ask for changes, and now that we're getting them, why are you going against what you've said for numerous amounts of years? Because, like Smitty, y'all know that I've called in several times. I've been on y'all's show, I've talked, and we talked about things that need to be added into the game. And we have every year got dynamic changes in the game. But as soon as the game hits the public on the release date, within a day or two, everything's broken, or they don't like it, or they don't want change. Change is hard. Change is difficult. We all have to adapt to it. I believe 17 was not a horrible game like everybody made it out to be. And I believe that they just didn't want to play realistic football. Now, if you want to play competitive and you want to do all that stuff, that's fine. But like I've said numerous times before, y'all talk about patches or tunes and this and that. I don't think you can just tune the game for a section of the competition and then tune it over here for the sim guy. I think if you touch the game, you're touching the whole game for everybody. So you're not going to make everyone happy. There's no way to. And what I've asked for a long time is to give us your vision of football. And give it to us. If you think it's authentic and you think it's fundamental football you want to put out, that's what you need to put out. You don't need to always listen to the griping. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't fix problems. I'm just saying that there's times when people want to argue that the game is broken when sometimes it's just you. Sometimes we got to put ownership on ourselves. That maybe we're not as good as we really think we are. And maybe the game's changing. And maybe you have to learn football.
That's a good point. SGO, man, I don't even know where to start because there's so many things that I want to say about the beta, but what are your thoughts, man, as far as just having a beta in general and what the beta has ended up being in terms of now it's multiple people with the code?
First of all, I want to. I have not confirmed that I am a part of the beta. As I will not speak about the beta or confirm that I actually am in the beta. But for those that are in the beta, no, I'm joking. But no, I really did not like how they handle things. This is not the first beta, and like I said, I made a video about it the other day. This is not the first beta. They've had previous betas. It just is the first semi-open beta. And how they've handled it, I haven't been a big fan of, because I believe first either it should be a truly closed beta, how in the past where it was only on a need-to-know basis, and the people who had codes, and they provided their feedback and played the game, and that was it. If you're gonna do it this way, I feel like it should be a more targeted effort. If you're gonna have a semi-closed beta, it needs to be a targeted effort to people who are, hardcore Madden people who are leaders of the community, people who are going to give quality feedback. And if you want to just target just Joe Walmart or Random Joe, then target those groups specifically and provide codes for people who give good feedback. Just spamming out codes on social media and to God knows who's going to get one and who they would even leave a line of feedback, to me, is just not the best way to spend the time and resources, I believe.
Yeah, man. I kind of feel right around the same way. Smitty, what are your thoughts on that whole thing, man, as far as how it ended up?
Well, I mean, I personally don't like how they went ahead and did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have it. It would have been better if it was done by a different avenue. Like, if you were going to do it in a closed manner, I would say, it would have been one thing if they gave some codes. I mean, obviously, game changer guys, but then beyond that, guys in the community, like, some figures out here that are playing Madden, get them involved. As well as, now if you want to have like what SGO's saying, if you want to target certain crowds and you want to make it open, put it out there and make it open. Just like what EA does at times when they say, hey guys, if you're in the Orlando area, or if you're in Cali, if you're going to be at this area, come in and do some studio testing. We got some playset testing sessions for our titles. You don't know what the game is or what you're even going to be doing. But they're like, hey, you come in, you could test out, some future product or something like that we got. That, that kind of deal. Then that's when you do something like that. It's like a quote-unquote open beta, so to speak. But if you're going to have it closed, keep it closed. Just like Battlefield 1. Look what they're doing. I mean, not Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5. What they put out, I think, today? They're doing a beta right now. They're doing a closed one. It's out there that they did a closed beta. You can see, but now people are broadcasting it and stuff like that. So they're able to broadcast, but it's just a select number of people. And that's it. So it's not like, oh, let me get a code and let me get a code. I mean, I'm pretty sure you got people asking for them, but in the manner in which they did it, because that's how things can get lost in the shuffle, so to speak, when it comes to feedbacking and things like that. I mean, I know it's always going to be a learning experience of some degree, but at the same time, I don't think it's the best way to go about it by just putting, throwing stuff out there publicly and hoping that you're going to get proper feedback from people. You know what I'm saying? Because it may not always stick. So that's just, that's one thing that I really don't like about it in that nature, but otherwise it is what it is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I think it should have been targeted to target groups and targeted members of the community to can choose quality people that know. Because I mean, I made that video. I felt terrible. I came across some codes that I had a good amount, and I was able to select people that really seemed like they were good, give good feedback. And I feel like it was so many hardcore Madden people who've been playing Madden 15, 18 years. that buy it every year, play it every year, put a ton of time in the game, know the intricacies of the game and how, going forward things can improve, that did not get codes just because they weren't fast enough to input codes from Twitter. I think that shouldn't decide whether someone's going to give good feedback or not. For me, that's kind of silly.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, man. I really didn't understand. I mean, and guys, let me say this real quick because I know y'all are seeing it. Skype has changed the format a little bit. The screens are all crazy. So y'all are seeing me fool with the screens. Bear with us. Just listen. Don't even pay attention to what you see on the screen, but I'm trying to figure it out. But it's so funny, man, because SGO would know this and Smitty would know this. A lot of times, obviously, with us being connected to EA, you get opportunities, blah, 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 blah. But then all of a sudden, they go totally different or go totally left from what they originally said. It's this closed beta. Y'all know we had the beta for 17. We didn't have one for 18 because Frostbite delayed some things, et cetera, et cetera. But the way it happened in 17, to me, was perfect. They targeted some guys, some game-changer guys, and then also some guys outside of the program who they know are going to give real feedback. Y'all know guys like Relly was involved with that, NYKia, et cetera, et cetera. But, hardcore guys and then some competitive guys, then some franchise guys, blah, blah, blah. But my thing with this one is like, so you throw this bait. Matter of fact, let me tell y'all a quick story. Y'all gonna laugh at this one. I found out from somebody else that there was a beta. I didn't hear it from EA first. How funny is that? I'm not going to put any names out there, but I found out from somebody else, hey, yo, you get the beta code? I was like, beta code? Now, I had heard earlier in the cycle that there would be a possibility of a beta. This was months ago. Then leading up to EA Play, I heard nothing else of it. So then all of a sudden, the week that the beta comes out, I hear this from elsewhere. Yo, did you get a beta code? I'm like, what are you talking about? So then all of a sudden, I did get the beta code same day, later that night. But anyway, just to show you how funny that was. So it ain't like that we always got the juice or we always, in the know, so to speak. There's also other people who work closely with them, blase blah, that can get these things as well. So it's all closed. We're not supposed to tell anything. They give us this long, synopsis of don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. And all of a sudden, I'm roaming Twitter one day, and I see there's 150 codes thrown out by people from EA. So immediately, I was like, wait a minute. What's the purpose of doing that? Let me tell y'all what I think is this beta, what this beta is all about. I'm going to be all the way frank. I could be wrong. This ain't inside information. This is not Sim trying to throw a nugget. This is just my speculation. I really believe that this beta is somewhat of a marketing thing. And let me explain why. Of course, you're going to get feedback from the guys that you need to get the feedback from, right? But there's no way that you're going to get valuable feedback from the 12-year-old that got a code because he was on Twitter. And let me explain what I mean. I don't mean that this guy can't give feedback. Like Joe Walmart. He could give feedback, but most of these people don't understand what beta means or what beta is. That's why you're seeing some people say, oh, this game is trash. I'm not buying it when it comes out because everybody thinks it's the final product. Now, truth be told, some of what you're seeing, I'm sure, is final. Like, certain things in the game might be final, but the whole package, gameplay, everything else, these elements, that elements, all of that is not in the game. But when you got those kind of people playing the game, they're just playing it. They're just happy to have the game early. So I think it gets lost in translation. We have a feedback doc. Of course, y'all know this because they clearly told you this on Twitter. There's a feedback doc for anybody who's in the beta. Now, y'all should see some of the topics that are ranked at the top. I'm just going to say that it's things that I might not necessarily agree with, nor Smitty, nor SGO, nor anybody else who's in the beta. Now, I'm not going to say this stuff isn't valuable, but what I'm saying is I'm sure we all can look at these lists and say, that ain't my number one issue. But why is it ranked so high? Then you have people out there tweeting out, hey, this is one of my issues. Go vote on it so it goes up the board. So y'all see my point? It's like, what exactly are we doing this for? I personally think it's a marketing ploy because EA Play, all of a sudden there's a bunch of gameplay that comes out of EA Play. And last year they were so protective of it. And they got crap for it, right? So this year, they get people out to EA Play, let a lot of people play the game and capture and dump videos out, which I might add had bugs in some of the footage. And the reason why I'm saying that, because I'm trying to walk y'all down the path. Previous years, y'all remember what I've always said, hey, you know, I can only throw out what's approved. I'm looking at some of this footage and I know ain't no way it was gone through an approval process, because I seen bugs jumping out in some people's footage.
No, it all went through, but I guess they were looking from different things than we were looking at.
Okay, got you. So I'm glad SGO cleared that up. But anyway, just not to be too long-winded, I'm gonna throw it back to 205. I feel like it's a marketing thing, man. And what I mean by that is I think that Clint and the gang, they know what the biggest bugs are, and they expect guys like us and your Kias of the world and guys like that to point out the things that are real feedback for the game. Because let me say this, a guy like NY Kia, the reason why I always refer to guys like him and your Zans and your Lights and even SGO. Like, these guys are not, they give feedback based on football and the game. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they don't just say, because let's be honest, some guys in the sim world could be overly sim. Y'all know what I mean by that. It's some people just, they go crazy with it. Whereas a guy like Kia is all about football, but he also understands the way the game works. So he's looking for concepts that's put in the game and how they perform. SGO does the same thing. So you need these type of guys giving feedback. So I think that Clint and them know who to pull the feedback from, the real stuff. And I think all of that throwing codes out and, hey, be on Twitter in 10 minutes. We got 100 coming. I think that's all marketing. It has to be, because there's no way you're telling me if you run a company, that's the best way for you to get feedback for something that you're trying to fix. Nah, no way. That's just my opinion. I could be dead wrong. Clint might be watching this and he might be busting out laughing right now because I'm wrong, but that's how I feel how this beta has gone. I don't think it's the most effective way, but listen, I guess it ain't really my problem to worry about. But that's just my opinion. 205, let me ask you, man. Clearly, the three of us here have played the game, whether it was EA Play or early in the year or what have you. What are your thoughts as far as what you're seeing coming out of EA Play and the footage that you've seen?
The footage that I've seen, I don't go by. Let me say this. I don't go by anything I see off screen onto a phone. I never have. I don't judge anything until I play the game. I've told Smitty this numerous times. I said, trailers don't do crap for me. Never have. Me watching somebody's off-screen footage of gameplay does absolutely nothing for me. That gameplay trailer that we got at E3 did nothing for me because that looked more like a CGI than it looked like actual gameplay. So I don't go by that. Not saying that those things are not in the game, but what I'm saying is I don't go by things that I haven't played. There's no reason for me to. So that's where this community loses their biscuit for no reason, because half of these people who see off-screen footage are the same type of people that say, I'll never play Madden, but yet they buy it every year, which is stupid. And then you ask them why you even bought it. They're like, I only bought it for my channel so I can tell other people not to buy it. You know how stupid that sounds? I'm like, there's people in this community who even makes the excuse of saying that Madden is the only game that comes out, so they have to buy Madden. No, you don't. I've had this conversation numerous times before. Why do you have to play a game that you so much hate? There was, for years and years and years, I ain't never picked a Call of Duty up since Modern Warfare 3 because that game ticked me off so bad. And I picked up World War II this past year because I actually felt like it was starting to go back to the way it was and the way I used to know Call of Duty. Doesn't mean that I don't think Battlefield's still better. It's just that it was a fun game, and I enjoyed playing it with my friends. And I was like, that's the first Call of Duty I've bought since Modern Warfare 3. So don't tell me that I have to buy something. And don't tell me, well, it's different with Battlefield and Call of Duty because there's shooters and there's tons of them. Dude, you can go out and buy 2K5. You can go buy Madden 14, 25, Madden 13. You can buy whatever Madden or whatever 2K or Fever or whatever college football game used to be made. Whatever it is, you can play those games and be happy and don't have to worry about what happens in Madden. So don't give me that excuse because that's stupid. This community numerous times has, even when Rex was there, which, you know, in a lot of ways, I feel like Rex gave people the benefit of the doubt when he didn't really need to. Like, there's certain people in this community that I would not listen to, period. And Rex still gave those guys a platform and still listened to them. My problem with that is that some of these people are not credible, or some of these people are just constantly looking for problems that they're constantly saying, well, Madden should fix this and Madden should fix that. Well, this is my thing. We have 2K basketball, who has just as many bugs and legacy issues as Madden does. But yet y'all can sit there and tell me, well, if 2K made the game, it would be perfect or it would be great. How do we know that? Their online servers still suck. They still have robotic-looking animations that play out constantly. They have warping and clipping in all of the basketball games. I didn't even buy 2K18, NBA 2K18 this year. And there's people that are diehard 2K guys that said that the game sucked. You constantly talk about MUT, how much EA puts into MUT. Look at how much 2K puts into the whole My Player thing in VC. Oh, and that to me makes me sick, because you're telling me that competitive guys that play Madden and play MUT, they get all this stuff. Well, who said the same thing? You can look at 2K basketball. They get all this stuff over there in My Player. They do all these things. Everybody turns around and says all this stuff, and I get really irritated because I'm sitting here going, but it happens in every sports game we got. MLB The Show has a card playing game that you can play. Pay the SP points for. You can buy packs and all this other stuff. So does FIFA. So does UFC. All of these sports games have them. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, these companies want money. It doesn't matter where they get it from. And 2K's just as bad, and any other company who's trying to make money that way is just as bad. My thing right now is I'm listening to Carlos and Sim. There was something that was said about Carlos that I think is really childish. You said this man was gay or he acts like a female and this stuff.
That's crazy.
Let me ask y'all something. Y'all really know what a gangster is? Because Carlos is a gangster, whether y'all want to believe it or not. The dude's tatted up. He's got that sweet little right kick leg that he throws and sweeps people with, and he's the boss. And I'm going to tell y'all something. There's some things I know about Carlos that I guarantee none of y'all know. He don't have a Twitter account, but I found this man. I won't tell you where, but I Googled him, and I know all about Mr. Carlos. You see, Carlos is worlds among what y'all think y'all know about gaming. This man, I can go down a list of about 30 things this guy has done in the video game world that would blow you people's minds away. blow your minds away. That's the reason why he got hired by EA Sports, or EA in general, because of what this man knows. Do you not know that not only does he know about video games, but he knows how to code a video game? So when people tell me that, well, they should put NFL guys in there or people that played the game, well, they got Clinton. Guess what? Y'all missed some things in that video he talked about. He said that it's great to have people that know the game of football, but we also have to have great people that know how to code it to make it look like football on the field. Do you know what that means? He's talking about balancing the game for each system, not just making the game balanced for CFM. And we're going to get more stuff in CFM. He said this is a building block. Yes, y'all are saying, oh, we've heard all this stuff before. He's doing it in front of your face, and you people ain't opening your eyes. How many times have we talked about different stuff on the show about getting done? And they're starting to come to light, right? Wide receiver DB in the actions, trench battles are starting to come real. Presentation, halftime shows, post-game, pre-game shows, we're getting them. All this stuff we're starting to see. Y'all talked about an ability system. What do y'all think archetypes and schemes are? He's going to dynamically change this game. I talked to Smitty, like 2-3 years ago? We talked about esports. Esports is a level of gaming that you have to be upon to be in that ozone layer of esports. You have to change your game. There's an article from 2 years ago that I just got through reading the other day that said FIFA and Madden is not on the esport level, but they're working to get there. It is 2018. We're moving to 2019. If this game does not change, if they don't listen to the crooks and the cronies and the cockroaches in the bag, hissing and moaning and crying and whining when this game comes out, and they keep it in there, and we don't get rid of the player movement and all the stuff we asked for, if we can just have it for a whole year, we may lose some people, but we're going to gain tons more. And the fact of the matter is, we need to be on that esports level so that the game can dynamically change and become realistic. And I'll go ahead and let you have it, Sim.
Well, what's interesting is the whole Carlos aspect.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start. To me, I don't understand how. Let me see. What do I want to say? Because then I'm going to throw it to SGO after that. It's just like with the beta, right? I guess I'll bring it back to this, because this is part of the place where I wanted to go. We have to realize that everybody's want or feature or experience or likes or dislikes are totally different. I'm seeing it playing the beta. And I don't mean gameplay. I'm talking about looking at the feedback doc, and I'm just going through it. I've looked at almost everything on there, and I'm like, wow. Everybody has their own perspective. And just like a whole thing with Carlos, I didn't read into what he said as a negative or a smack in the face. It's just like Smitty said last week. Carlos is actually, his statement is actually coming to pass. Because as much as we all agree, there's clearly not as many things done to CFM that we want. Nowhere near. Again, Deuce Douglas, that blueprint is there. But you can't look at what they're doing in CFM, whether it's all going to work or not. None of us know that until the game comes out. But you can't look at it and say, oh, see, they ain't doing nothing. How not? All that stuff that they're doing, to me, is finally something that I can say, oh, okay, you can build on that. You know how we always talk about we want coordinators and all of that? Well, to me, I feel like, schemes. I already got an idea now that I'm going to propose to them and say, look, now I think this is how we can get offensive, defensive coordinators in there, and this is how you're going to do it. I see the connecting of the dots. Everything that they're putting in there, the archetypes. Y'all hear me talk about it all the time until I'm blue in the face. I need more traits. I want to see more traits. I want to see this. I want to see that. Now, if they're finally starting to add some archetypes in there, wait a minute. Now, can we get more traits to define what this guy does and what the field general actually does? And you see what I'm saying? It is a tree that can have many branches. But at the same time, to go back to the Carlos thing, is people already saying, "Oh man, see this guy, they ain't doing nothing. They, they ain't gonna improve the game." Okay. All I'm saying is, I feel like this community has lost its way in terms of demand. Like, I get it, but we have to understand that everything that we want to see in Madden is impossible for it to be done in Madden 20. I'm saying that already. Look at the list of things that we want from CFM. It ain't all going to be in there in Madden 20. I'm pretty sure. It's impossible. It's still a certain amount of time that has to be allotted. So what I'm pulling on and what I'm going to bank on until I'm proved otherwise, I'm going to hold this guy to his word. He said, the foundation is gameplay. He talked gameplay in that whole interview, and he said that the idea is to build on all of these, every component of the game together. I'm going to see if that holds true. Because for the first time in a long time, when you look at Madden 19 and you put up what was done in CFM versus what's done in MUT, it's pretty equal. CFM might have got more things. I'm going to see if he continues to live up to that as we go forward. So we'll see. But to kind of bring that back home, SGO, man,
yeah, there's a lot of great things said so far.
Go ahead.
And I think I have a few things that I want to touch upon. I already said previously how I wasn't a big fan of how the beta was handled, but I think just in general, as far as Madden, and when you look at Madden, you can't look at it on a year-to-year basis. You have to look at the entire span of games, the entire span of the series, because we know as a yearly title, not everything's not going to get done in 1 year. So you have to look at the vision and how it spans across multiple games. And I think one of the biggest problems, and what people must know, is that game changers, we're here to give feedback about the game, help improve the game. There are no game changers that I know of that are yes men. And anyone's going to say, hey, what do you think about this? Oh, it's great, and not give their true feelings. All the game changers that I know, all the game changers that I know involved in the program, they will say to a dev's face, this is wrong, this is not right. And I've been in those meetings. I've seen those discussions. I've had them myself. So will EA always listen to us? No. Sometimes it's it's a resource issue. Sometimes some developers don't agree. Sometimes maybe they don't agree how to add that feature or make it happen with the current code set. It's a lot of things that goes into it. And I think what people don't realize is that from generation to generation, it's not the same thing. So when you say, oh, they took out all these features from the PS2 or PS3, they didn't take them out. They just didn't make it into the new build of the game on a new platform or a new system. They're not copying the same exact code over and over. And I'm not saying they don't have some older code in it, but they're not just copying. It's not like a simple button click import PS2 features. Like, it doesn't work like that. And I think people don't understand about just software and development and game development in general, don't realize that. They feel things have been taken out. They haven't been taken out. They just have, you have to categorize what things are important to you to put in the new version or new build of the game. But I think one of the biggest important things with the Game Changer program and just working with EA, understanding EA in general, is that there are great people in the community, like Smitty, Mills, different guys like that who give great feedback to EA and want to make the game better. But I feel as a CFM community as a whole, I feel we're splintered and I feel we're weak. When you look at the MUT community, when they want something, they are unified as a voice. We want this changed. There is no hardcore grouping of CFM franchise guys the same way they have for MUT. Look what they did for Battlefield. When they said, no, we're not going to go for this, that change happened quick. And you see EA's even stock price was affected by that. We have no unification as a franchise community. The first time I ever seen Twitter past year, when EA tweeted out something about the NBL and their stuff, that's the first time they tweeted anything franchise out. If it's something with competitive gaming, they're all over it. If it's something with Mutt, they're all over it. But that's us not holding their foot to the fire. We as a community have to be stronger and more unified behind. I don't care whether it's a single person, a few people, whatever it is, we have to do better with that. Supporting our CFM channels, CFM Twitters, or whatever. Even look at the Mutt Reddit versus the general Madden Reddit. Where's the franchise Reddit? Like they're even unified behind a Reddit, or whether it's Mudhead or whatever it is, they're unified behind these huge things. And when you have a person is only strong as a community behind it. So don't get me wrong, I love Sim and you guys to death. But when you say something to EA saying, I don't like this feature, I want this change, and something to be done about this, they're like, he has a couple of follows here and whatever, you know. But if somebody like, let's say, what's his name, some huge, or even last year when iMav, when he put out that video about zones coming out of EA Play, bruh, it was on fire over there. It was like, it was like EA heard that. And it was like sea level, this place is on fire, we need to fix this and make this change. There were meetings held there. So when you have that large voice, or when guys with a big voice have a big community behind them say something, that's what gets stuff done. That's what gets stuff changed. And again, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying anything to sway anything or knock Sim or those guys any way at all. I don't want to be misconstrued for that. But when you have that platform of you have a huge backing of people behind you, like Toke and that little Jimmy thing with Mutt, when that was the issue, when they felt the packs were legit, and Toke started that hashtag Little Jimmy campaign, EA was on fire over there. Literally, there's meetings being had, there's stuff being had. So they might not listen when I say franchise is not that great. I only got 100K subscribers. But when you have 500 subscribers behind it, when you have a million, 300K Twitter followers behind it, we need to unify more like that behind our CFM guys and our CFM game changers, and not even game changers, but game changers or just people who want changes. We need more people and more focused people behind it. The same way Battlefield got changes immediately, we can get those changes done a lot more quickly and to the timetable that we kind of feel acceptable. But we have to do better as a community. We have to unite behind members of the franchise community the same way.
Man, I fully agree with that, man. Smitty, I'm going to throw you this question, and then I want to circle back to SGO after you, and then 205 if you want to comment. With the beta, right? I'm already seeing this. People are telling me I'm going to blame the beta testers. If the game is not perfect or if there are any bugs, I'm going to blame all of these guys. So before you answer that, I'm just going to give my quick piece on that. What makes y'all think that just because I get to test the game, or Smitty, SGO, anybody else in the community, I mean anybody, what makes y'all think that that's going to make the game bug-free? Like, y'all act as if we don't report the issues. All of us, just the three of us alone, has multiple pieces of feedback that we've already provided, even just while we're able to do this. But how does that reflect on anybody who's had a chance to play the game? And that's, to me, again, just like SGO said, that's where the community goes awry, because people are either upset because they don't get a code, or they're thinking only their feedback is going to help the game. That, to me, is hilarious. But I don't want to hear none of that. The game comes out, and I can promise you, the game will have a bug or two, maybe multiple. Every game has bugs when they launch. But how does that reflect on the beta testers or the game changers? As if, we could just snap our fingers and, fix this, fix that, fix that, fix that. Because to me, if it was that easy, the bugs would have never gotten to us. That's what they do all year. They have their own Q&A, guys like RG and guys on that staff that's always testing the game. But when you're dealing with code, man, I mean, I know SGO knows a little bit about that with the computer stuff. These things are going to happen, man. But, Smitty, how do you feel about people saying that? And do you think that the beta will have been a benefit to Madden 19's success as far as at launch?
Yes. At the same time, potentially no. Yes, because, You get all the issues put out there. You got all kinds of feedback given in various aspects as far as the game is concerned. I say no because, like we've said many times before, we got to wait till that at least first month and a half. When that first title update drops, that'll really be telling the tale to take as far as how the tone of the game is going to be going throughout the rest of the year. So I feel that, it's a good thing, but like I said, this goes back to the whole manner of how everything was distributed. If it wasn't distributed the way it was, that'd be one thing. But, all we could do at the end of the day is provide feedback as best as we can. That's it. People can try to hold that whole, hold y'all foot to the fire kind of deal. If this doesn't work perfectly, we're blaming you guys. It's like, okay, go ahead and do that. You know what I'm saying? That's like saying you got a car. If my car runs out of gas, I'm blaming Ford or Toyota or whomever. Okay, well, when you run out of gas, you're going to be a mad person because of that. You know what I'm saying? You should already know the game is going to have issues offhand. It's going to have shortcomings and things like that. But I want to say this. That's basically my answer on that. But I want to go back to what SGO said and piggyback off of him, because he made a great point. I say this exact same point about the live community. See, people get upset. They got upset last year when dudes flew out, and they were primarily 2K guys. And they flew out, had an NBA live party. Dudes got shoes and haircuts and scanned. Some of them got scanned in the game and all that good stuff, right? And they got upset with it. And even this year, they get mad at Cash Nasty because he's playing live and you see him getting all these views and stuff on the video. My thing is, if you're upset, if you're angry about it, well, why don't you put the work in and build your channel up? Why don't you build an audience of your own so that way you can overtake? It's one thing when you have multiple channels, even if everybody doesn't necessarily have 1 million subs or 500,000 or 20,000. If you got multiple channels where you got a few thousand here, a few thousand there, a few thousand here, a few thousand there, it all matters, and it contributes to the whole. So, when you see SGO saying what he said, CFM, think about this. CFM is most played mode. It's played no matter what. So it's like they could do absolutely nothing. People are still running over to that mode and playing it. So that, in my opinion, that kind of takes some of the air out of the sail when you try to make a stance up and say, man, this is bullcrap and we're not tolerating it. But then you turn around and you play in the mode, though. And they got the stats to be like, well, you made a case, but at the same time, you playing it, though. You know what I mean? So when you look at the MUT side, and to his point once again, when they don't like things on the MUT side, they can have all kinds of riffraff going on. But when the rubber meets the road, it's go time. This is a problem. This is a problem. That's a problem. What you about to do about it or else? And they own it. But when it comes to franchise mode stuff, I don't feel it's the same vibe. I don't feel it's the same tone where it's like everybody's like, yo, let's get at these guys. Let's get them. You know what I'm saying? Or yo, we're not going to play CFM. We're not going to do this. I don't know how many times I've seen people tweet, man, I hate this, that, and the third about Madden. But I'm gonna run this league anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the next game. And it's but if you feel that way about it, at some point you gotta have some kind of stance with it. You gotta take a stand on stuff. You know what I mean? And press forth on that and come together on it. And that's the whole thing. You have to come together on it. That's the whole point that we made before. Just spewing out vitriol and just venom is not going to get it done. There has to be some kind of unity in order to get the point directly across. Even though, yes,
Exactly.
we all are in the same boat with the frustration. We all could be mad. Dudes mad over here. Guys are mad over here. Other people mad over on that side. Guys are mad over here. But there's no real unification. You know what I'm saying? So when you don't have a real unification towards a common goal, that's the thing that's what makes it hard to be like, hey guys, let's put the resources in sooner for CFM. Like, see, and that's another thing with Mutt. Mutt, they put in the work. They put stuff out. Mutt gets updated every single week. All kinds of stuff, new programs, new this, new that. CFM ain't really have anything. Now we got something to build from. So if people, and this is my thing going forward with it, if you just gonna sit around and say, man, EA ain't doing nothing with franchise mode, if that's all you gonna say, then you ain't bringing nothing to the table. You ain't bringing no value to the table. Because you should bring the points to the table like, okay, they did this over here, but this is what you need to do now. This is what you need to do in addition. Or I don't agree with this part of it. I feel it could be done better by doing it this way. Actually have some discussions, some dialogue, like what SGO said. Get on Reddit, Twitter, YouTube video discussions, forums, things like that. Like, there has to be avenues where people can turn to multiple people, multiple avenues, and then be able to really break bread about it. That's what really needs to start happening, like on the CFM side, because looking at what Deuce Douglas did, like I said, that's something that would take 3 to 5 years. So people would look at that, even if they did that to the letter, like I said last week, they would start implementing that. People would be validating Carlos' statement left and right. You would be saying it ain't enough. Man, they ain't do nothing. Man, they ain't do. Okay, all right. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's just going to validate them. Be like, we just going to keep working. And then at some point, even after, let's say they built out Deuce Douglas, you're going to have people that are not going to agree with it, have issues with it. Oh, man, EA, y'all jacked up, man. Y'all shouldn't have did that. Y'all should have did this instead.
Well,
there's going to be a level.
Go ahead, man. And the key is, who is the franchise? Who is the franchise person that's the toke for franchise? Who's the MMG Madden Mobile guy? They got for franchise.
Yep.
Who's that guy? Who's the KKS? He's huge. But, our community does not support those voices. Now, and I've worked with NBL in the past. They're a great group of guys who do a lot of stuff, but they, it's a league. How much can a league grow? It's only 32 people. Either they have multiple leagues. You're still limited by that number. There needs to be a voice. There needs to be a core person that has a large audience that we get behind. And I'm not saying I want to be honest. I don't want to be that person. Like even last year we really didn't even put out. I was so disillusioned with franchise. I kind of almost did. We did so little franchise coverage in 18 just because I wasn't happy with it. So I almost went through like the 8 stages of grief about it. Where I'm kind of at acceptance now. Where I'm like, well, this is how it is. So what am I going to do about it? Last year I was kind of pouting. They didn't add in franchise features. It doesn't feel new to me. I don't want to make content on it. But now I'm like, you know what? If I just keep pouting about it and not covering it, that's not going to change anything. So this year, I'm going to try a different way. I'm going to push franchise like never before. And again, I'm not saying get behind me or come subscribe to my channel. I'm not here to say that. I'm saying, but there needs to be someone, whether it's Sim or whatever it is, we all need to get behind to have one voice or one or two voices that we can. The more people you have behind you, the more they'll listen. Someone in the chat said it shouldn't matter how much following you have. It should, the game. Yeah, that's life, bro. Hate to break it to you. It might not sound fair, but that's life. You think if I tweeted United and say, "Hey United, you lost my baggage, help me," you think they're gonna tweet back immediately? If I was The Rock, or if I was Washington, and I said, "Hey United, you lost my baggage," I guarantee you they'd be on it ASAP. Yep. They'd be like, absolutely. "Mr. Washington, how can we help you? We want free ticket. Here, you got a free. Take a plane." Following matters. Your voice, the people behind you matters. Whether or not you like that or not, I mean, hey, bro, take that up with life. That's how it is. So if you want to be that person, then you get out. Like you said, Smitty said, go out there and build your following. Start a YouTube channel, Instagram. So it's enough social media platforms. Get out there and do that. If you want to be that guy. And I'm going to do a lot better. I have reached out to Deuce Douglas. I think he's kind of doing his own thing now. But in the past, I reached a lot of guys. Anyone in the franchise community, want to reach out, and we'll work with you, big or small. You have ideas, you have things you want to do. We need whoever it is, whether somebody need to start a franchise Reddit or get behind more of that. We need to have these places where we have a huge voice, where they have no choice but to listen to us because we're a unified people together on the franchise.
It's funny, man. 205, I want you to come in right after this, but y'all know every now and then when it's live, I always got to say something. It's funny, guys, like this guy here in the chat, TJ Owens. This is going to be personally for you and anybody else like you. I need y'all to stop taking this so serious, man. Let me tell you something. Y'all know why I don't be on Twitter as much no more. I don't really get into arguments and debates. I don't care that much. You understand that? I don't care that much. And I could probably speak for Smitty and SGO in that regard. And let me tell you why. We have families. We have regular lives. This is our hobby. Now, SGO might have more of an argument on that because he has a site, which obviously he has to care a little more because that's part of his livelihood. But let me explain something to you. He has other things in his life that he does. He has a beautiful baby boy. We don't care that much to where somebody is, oh, you do it. I don't understand why y'all worry so much about what we're doing. That part, from a man's standpoint, I will never understand that. Let's just say that, and I'm going to talk in third person. Let's say SimFBallCritic was being paid by EA, or he's this EA diehard, or he's a EA fanboy, whatever. What difference does it make to you? How does that affect your life at all? I don't get it. I don't understand that, man. And I really want people to take their lives a little more serious than worrying about what other people are doing. Because at the end of the day, it's your choice. Either you're going to play Madden or video games in general, or you're not. What I simply do as a game changer, they came to me 5-6 years ago. Hey, you give great feedback. We have this program, we bring guys down, da-da-da-da-da-da. It doesn't cost me 1 red cent. Everything I've done connected to EA paid for it. And even like your guy here, TJ, said, oh, if they pay for your plane and your hotel, then you're getting paid. Well, that's some crazy analogy that you're coming up with in your own mind. But it doesn't cost me nothing. It's a little bit of time that I'm away from home. I play video games by nature. I was most of us in here, even on this call, we all grew up with games. I'm probably going to be a gamer forever. Why not lend a hand if I can? But I also understand that Sim can't change the game. Sim has no control over it. All I can do is give feedback. And the last thing, I continue to tell y'all, like, I don't understand why just even watching some of y'all go back and forth. Y'all already know what's really happening. Why are y'all still arguing about why the devs do this, and we done told you 1,000 times who's in charge. 1,000 times. Like, why are we having this same conversation? What we should be talking about now is how can we get at EA, the corporate, like what SGO is trying to say. If y'all really catch what he's saying, why you need a voice, because then if the voice is big enough, guess what? Other people who make decisions are going to see that. You think that the top dogs don't know Toe? Or I'm not talking about devs. You think they don't know QJB and Toe the Boss? When I've gone to EA and I've seen executives I've seen them do QJBs. Hada boom! His little phrase. This is what SGO was trying to say. You need more influence. And I'm just saying, man, like, I can't play these games no more, man. I'm a real person with some smarts. I would at least like to say that about myself. I'm a little smart. I understand politics. I understand. It's not worth sitting here arguing and debate. It makes no sense, dog. play the game or don't play the game. It's just that simple. It should not be that part. Because you see people on Twitter, all they do is sit around, and they supposed to be community people, but all they doing is watching to see what's he doing. What SGO doing over there? What's Smitty doing? Oh, Sim ain't posting no content. Man, I gotta say something. Why? I don't get you guys like that, and I don't. If I was getting paid by them, if they were paying me to be a EA spokesperson, why should you care? It has nothing to do with you. I just don't understand that kind of behavior, man. I guess it's the cloth I'm cut from.
I think the best thing is just ignore those people and move forward, man. Like I have people post the same thing on our channel. You know, you're a shill, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Just I respond to the positive comments and people that support and want the game to move forward. And I don't respond to the negative comments. People can say whatever they want. I mean, and a lot of times, like I posted on Twitter the other day, you know, the same guys who were saying, "Oh, Madden sucks. It's the same game every year." And then, 2 hours later, "Oh, let me get a beta code." Well, yeah. why you want a beta code for a game that you hate?
It's crazy, man. It's just, and I try to explain it a little bit, SGO, only because I will say this. I understand that some people follow me and some people, I'm their go-to. I get that. I know it's a responsibility with that, even if you don't want it. And when people say, "Yo, you're my guy," you got to uphold a certain standard. I get it. But that's why I try to always explain to people like, dog, I don't really care that much. Like, and one day I might decide, man, and I'm done with Twitter, period. It's like, it's not that serious. When you're hearing about all the crazy stuff going on in the world, but I ain't going to go that route because it's like something crazy happened today near D.C., another mass shooting. You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares about these damn video games, man? I mean, yeah, don't get me started, man. But 205, man, what are your thoughts, I guess, on anything that might have been touched on here from either Smitty or SGO? I know we've been rambling a little bit.
My thing is that I try to support everyone. Now, there is certain people that I will not support. I absolutely refuse. And there's a guy in this community who I will not name names, but he attacked Hollywood Sports this week.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
And I'm just like, this dude.
Oh, God.
No. We're not talking about that at all.
The who should not be named.
Yeah. No.
Yep.
Right.
Skip past that.
But those are the type of people that we don't need to associate with at all. We need to keep our movement directed towards EA. And, I started doing our videos with Zulu and 757. Anybody that wants to know where 757 is, you can catch him on the Red Zone. And hopefully he'll call back into the show. I can't say if he will or he won't. Because the man is super busy. He owns his own company, and I can barely talk to him sometimes. And when I am talking to him, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So, and I have to work the next day. So, yeah, that's our life. But the thing about it is, honestly, there's some things I wish people would honestly do, and that is stop, re-listen, do your research, listen again before you open your mouth. Because just like these people who watched the first 5 minutes of the Carlos debut video, went on Twitter and started making these stupid videos and all this stuff and calling him all this names and all, man, if you are a grown man in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and you're talking this stuff, you really need to look in the mirror and question the type of person you are. Because really, you've let EA get under your skin so bad. It's like a girl and you can't get over from high school. And you're married and you still chasing after this chick from high school. That's how bad things have become. And, I don't want to call people fanboys and all this stuff, but when you've literally took the means that some people has took in this community to attack people like Rex and Clint and Smitty and Sim and SGO and people like that, like, you really need to check yourself, dude. Because there's a lot of us, there's grown people in this community. Like, I'm 36 years old, and if I ever met one of you dudes in real life streets, like, I'm just gonna not even say a word. I'm just walk off and punch you straight in the face. Like, matter of fact, I'm not even gonna punch you in the face. I'm gonna punch you in the throat and watch you catch air. That's how much I can't stand you type of people. Like, I'm just bred differently. Like, these 18, 20-year-old kids now don't know what fighting is. They don't know when you have 3 people jump you and you have to beat them up. You ain't got a choice. Because, you know, there's something that my parents told me a long time ago. They said, I don't ever want you to start a fight, son. But if you don't fight back, you remember one thing. When you get home, you're going to take another beating from me because you was too scared to fight back. And you know what? I didn't care how big and bad that person was. I wasn't about to take another whooping when I got home. Ain't no way on God's green earth. So, you know, that's just how I feel about that. And, you know, honestly, what I'm pushing for next is because I've got most everything that we've asked for. Like, people act like we ain't got anything. Like, we get most everything we ask for if you ask in a way that's polite and respectful and not demeaning somebody and try to discredit them. I've had plenty of talks with Rex and Clint, and they would just tell me, oh, we didn't get it in this game, or we couldn't get it in this game. Oh, thanks for pointing that out. We'll try to look into getting it done. I've never had a problem with those guys. And, you know, I'm looking forward to the point where I can say that we get living worlds. That's what I want to see in 2020. Living worlds and dynamic weather. 2 things that I've been asking for a long time. And I'm thinking that now, since we're doing the building blocks and gameplay and we're starting to work on those things, I want to see that. Because, to be honest with you, living worlds and weather, dynamic weather, not only is a game changer, but it's going to force you to focus even more. Because now you're sitting there go, this ball is wet. Maybe I don't need to throw it in 20-mile-an-hour wind. Maybe I need to run. I mean, let's just look back to 3-4 years ago when, when Tom Brady was playing the Bengals. Or no, it wasn't the Bengals. It was the Cardinals, playing the Cardinals, and the weather had like wind conditions of like 25 miles an hour, and it was affecting the passes. And Tom Brady was throwing balls out of bounds over people's heads. And it wasn't his fault. It's just that the wind was taking the ball and putting it out of bounds. He ended up throwing an interception and costing him the game. So those are the things that we need to push forward for. And SGO, man, I love your channel. I love what y'all do. And, you know, if y'all want to say anybody who's been pushing CFM community, I would put Shotmaster up there. Yeah. I think Shotmaster, and I think really, I'm not saying everybody has to say he's the number one dude, but we need to push guys like Shotmaster. We need to push everyone that's trying to get this game better. And I've got to do better at growing my channel. I've got to do better at getting more content out. I've got to do better at a lot of things. But no, we can't put the blame on anybody but ourselves, like SGO said. Because if something happens in the Star Wars community, they cost EA $6.1 billion. You think if we start costing them that kind of money with the active community that we have over here in CFM, where there's like 9 million on Xbox and another 8 or 9 million on PlayStation? Come on. We can affect anything if we put our focus in the right places. And I'll go ahead and let you have it, Sam.
First of all, man, look, y'all chill out in the comments, man. Stop talking about people personally, and come on, chill out with that, Jim Beam. That's the easiest way for you to be invited to the block party. Stop doing that. That has nothing to do with anything. Second of all,
grow up, guys. Come on.
Yeah, come on, man. We adults here. I'm gonna throw not a curveball, but an interesting topic. I don't know if we're gonna get to NBA Live, guys. We might, but I say it's a curveball to SGO and to Smitty because it's interesting, because obviously we know about 19, All of the news is out, so I don't think we are in any violation by answering this next question. But if you guys can, I'll start with you, SGO. What's something that is not in Madden 19 that you would have liked to have seen in Madden already? And it, not necessarily just 19, but let's say since Madden 25, since we've come over to this new gen, what's something that we all know is not in a Madden product right now that you would like to see at some point?
Oh man, that's a real curveball. I mean, I have a wish list. It's hard to pick one thing. It's like choosing from out of my children. Which one do you? I don't know if I have a favorite. It's a ton of things. From assistant coaches and a lot of things that I want are things that are out of the developers' hands. I think a lot of people don't realize just how many things they can't put in just because they have to get NFL approval prior. To pretty much everything, like mentioned about harder hits and knocking helmets off and realistic injuries like concussions and things like the coaching carousel, which is limited because then they can only use the coach's license and they don't have license to other assistant coaches and all that. So there's some things that I want that are really just kind of out of EA's hands that they can't put into the game.
What you think, Smitty? And I know the list is extremely long, man, but is there anything, one or two things that we know is not in 19 that you hope we see in the future? And this could be anything. I mean, gameplay, presentation, whatever.
I would say pass sensitivity. Various trajectories based off of who the quarterback actually is, on how they throw, basically saying there's a difference between Aaron Rodgers and Dan Marino in terms of how they get the ball out.
Right.
Lastly, I would say is just full-on organic gameplay on all 22. No two-man anthems. No two-man scripted win-loss anthems there. That'd be my short list, so to speak.
Man, it's so many things. And I'm going to come to you as well, 205, in a sec. It's some things I'll stay away from because some of the things that I want to see is, how can I say this? You might see some early stages of it in 19. So it's stuff I'll stay away from. Let me attack it from another angle. I'm going to be safe and I'm going to go presentation. How about that? Numerous gameplay things, guys. And, of course, once the game comes out, y'all know all of us will be giving our actual wish list. But, like I said, I'm going to take the safe route. I really just need them to stop telling stories. And what I mean by that is I've seen a couple of you guys say it in here. 205 mentioned it. Living worlds. The funny thing is, right, when we saw the introduction or the presentation by Andrew Wilson for Madden 25, there were two trailers. And y'all have heard me say this before, but I got to say it again. There were two trailers that they showed. One of them was more so supposed to be gameplay. But then there was this other one. When RG3 comes to the line and he scans the field and he's pointing and he's patting his helmet. And funniest thing about that is, to me, what they're doing this year with the QB before the snap stuff is kind of that. It's mighty funny that we're just seeing that. But where is the living worlds, man? The crowd is still not as raucous as it was in that trailer. It's not as involved as FIFA. I'm not too big on how they look. I mean, it's the crowd. They're way off the field. But we still it doesn't feel like we are playing in Pittsburgh against the Ravens on Christmas Day, and there's one play for Antonio Brown to catch a slant and stretch it across the goal line. And the crowd goes crazy. We still don't have that atmosphere. We don't have Arrowhead, where you really got to be like, oh, we might be doing silent count today. We can't hear nothing. There's no 12th man. We don't feel any of that. The sidelines, honestly, it functions, and I would probably say 2K8 probably still was a little better. And even graphically, the sidelines are not that much a step above that, because the only time it looks good on the sideline is when it's a cutscene. But when they just show the sideline, and my thing is, that ain't even something that I normally would be talking about. Y'all know I'm gameplay first, but what I always say, a simulation product should look and feel like the real thing. They've preached this living worlds thing since then, and we haven't really seen anything. Stop lying.
I think that's a real big thing you brought up, because for me, and it's interesting how you got to that point, because for me in the past, I always gameplay first. I didn't care anything about equipment and body types and all stuff like that. I just cared about gameplay. But more and more, as I started doing more videos on it, researching it more, I started seeing how important that is. And this year, it was so funny how it led up to that, because at EA Play Build, they had all the wrong equipment and body blends on a lot of the players. So I don't know if you guys have seen our our video with the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson has linebacker shoulder pads and like a kicker body build or whatever. It just looks ridiculous. So, but seeing that, it made me realize, like, wow, like equipment and the player body blends can make such a huge difference in how the game looks. And I love graphics. You can have amazing graphics, but the player, if you have a kicker with linebacker shoulder pads on, or a quarterback that looks like offensive lineman, it totally breaks the immersion of the game.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, like I said, I don't think I'm risking being in any violation here, because any of this stuff, any features that would have been in the game, we would have seen it in a blog. But the next thing I would say, which has been a big point for me outside of gameplay, is the penalties and challenge system, man. I mean, people always wonder why everybody goes back to 2K5. I will honestly say, and I know SGO and Smitty and 205, somebody gonna throw stones at me for saying this. On the field, gameplay wise, I've been thinking that Madden was better than 2K5. Just on the field, people can say whatever they want. There were aspects, even in 2K8, pass leading still I think was better in 2K8 by far. But if I'm just talking about on the field, I ain't talking about nothing else. I'm sorry. Madden from 16 to now is a better game on the field. Now, I'm not talking about the extras. And it's not fair to compare them because it was years ago. I mean, 2K didn't build up to here. Who knows where they'd be now? But when people keep trying to tell me, Madden 18 is not it, they didn't have no DV&Y interactions at all in 2K5. I mean, it was the same it was the same like thing that you saw in any other football game. You understand what I'm saying? 2K5 was deep. I'm just talking about from hike to hike. Just on the field. I ain't talking about extras and features. We all know 2K5 was the truth with features and presentation. But if we're talking about the penalty system, come on, EA. And I get it. And see, this is the struggle that we have as game changers. We know what's happening, and we know who really controls what goes in the game. But I still got to look at them and say, come on, man. It's supposed to be the NFL. 2K5 had, you could challenge whether it was a catch or a fumble. You could pick what you wanted to challenge, or, the replay. It was just, it had it all. It had all the penalties way back then. I'm so sick of that normal, basic challenge stuff in Madden, man. We gotta get better than that. And it's still not there. It's still the same old thing. Like I said, if it was a feature, by now they would have told you. Unless they're gonna surprise us right now, everything that you've heard about Madden is what's coming to Madden 19. So those will be my things. Again, I'm gonna stay away from gameplay. because, like I said, I could mess around and say something I ain't supposed to, and we'll wait till after the game comes out. 205, man, I think you kind of brushed up on it a little bit, but what is a feature or two or something that you obviously, from what you've read and what you've heard from EA Play guys and what you've seen, what's still not in Madden that you would like to have in that game right now?
Dynamic weather. I've been talking about that for years. Dynamic weather is a big thing on my list. Of course, living worlds. We need living worlds. It immerses you into the game, especially if you're on an away game. We need that that push to where we're trying to figure out, can we calm this crowd down? That's the type of thing I want to see. Will road games really matter when we get to that point? But one of the biggest things that has always been on my bucket list of things to do, is to bring back something we used to have in the Madden game, and that was, it wasn't really a combine, it wasn't really a skills trainer, but it was sort of like how you had, 2K5, where you had the ghost system, where you could play the team that you're going to play coming up next week. If we had that, because we already have DVR and all this stuff, yeah, we kind of can film them, we kind of can watch what they're doing, but if we could play a ghost version of them in practice mode to get ready, and it's not going to give you everything. It's not going to give you what they're going to play at that exact time, but just so that we can kind of do some film study work, stuff like that, breaking down film. One thing that really aggravated me is, I think it was 16 when it started this, when they started having right when you turn the game on, that presentation was like, oh God, the coach is talking to me. I'm getting plays from the sideline. I'm getting all this. Why can't I have that in the game? You took and had that at the beginning, then you took it away when I started playing. Like, I want that. I want that every time I play. I want to be able to go to the sideline and the coach say, hey, what play would you like? And maybe the screen comes up and you get to pick from 10 plays or 5 plays. Hey, I want to go for this one on the 3rd and 5. We need to get this, pick from what we ran this week. Something like that. And I kind of let y'all have it, man.
Yeah, man. And another thing I'll mention really quick, man, and then, we could spend the last 10 minutes, I guess, just giving some quick thoughts on how you guys are feeling about, what you're seeing from NBA Live, and whether or not, just to set it up, whether or not you think they can close the gap just on the hardwood. not overall, because it ain't even going to be close. And I don't even know what's coming. There's no way they're going to overtake them in that regard. But the thing that trips me out too, man, about like what I'm seeing in the chat and kind of what you just said, is I never understand why people get upset when old features from like a prior Madden finds its way back. I never understand that, because to me, please take Head Coach 09 and take the Maddens that had the Tony Bruno show and all of that and bring it over. I'm cool. Like, why would I be mad at that? So things like in NCAA, their composure. Come on, man. I mean, the blueprint's right there.
Just the point. I mean, I know you're not doing purpose, but the way you say things like that, bring it over. It makes people who don't know sound like it's a copy and paste feature where you could just on the computer just copy old school head coach features, paste in the new. I mean, these are things that have to be built from the ground up.
Absolutely.
Added in just so people lost out. They don't realize this. They think it's just, you can press a button and all those features come into the new game. It's not how programming and software development works.
Yeah, just like the coaching adjustments. They had to. It wasn't like they could just. And I'm glad SGO said that, knowing, having a little history, knowing that. That's the thing. So that's why I never complain when there's an older feature that we once saw that's brought over to the current Madden, because first of all, it might have been something that we liked, but then, of course, why wouldn't you want to have that? And I know it takes time for them to get that stuff over. What you got, Smitty?
No, I was just gonna say, like, going off of what SGO saying, the thing is that, I mean, we understand that, but people think that, some people think that just because they make some money, they should be able to do all of it regardless. Just hire some more people. Go ahead and get it done real quick. Like, it don't work like that, especially when your game is built on, a yearly cycle pretty much. Every, 8-9 months, your game's dropping. So that's stuff that, like what SGO was saying, is stuff that has to be built up. And see, this is stuff that you're talking about. You're talking about getting some real deep, real in-depth features that we want in a franchise mode, that they're going to have to build up the mode first before they could go ahead and do that kind of stuff. See what I'm saying? That's the whole thing about it.
And being real, not to cut you off, but being real, for a top 5, top 10 selling game in America every single year, EA Madden NFL is understaffed. Tiburon is understaffed. Let's be real. I mean, but you got to remember that EA, their number one, I'm not trying to throw any stones, but being real, as a publicly traded company, they have to deliver to their stockholders. So any publicly traded company, especially, but any private company, their main goal is to make profit. Mm-hmm. So they're all, even at the company I work for, company you work for, unless it's a mom and pop store, their whole purpose is, how much can I make the most amount of money with the least amount of overhead? And that's across the board, any company, right? Unless it's, again, like I said, a mom and pop store, doesn't care much about the bottom line as much. But a publicly traded corporation, so how can I sell this product for as much as I can with the littlest amount of overhead that I can have? So us as a community, we need to make sure we have, like I said before, back to those loud voices, we have a voice we can be behind, like the Battlefield thing, where we can push them to make our voices loud enough where people can say, whoa, hold on, we might have to put some more resources into this product because the people really aren't happy. So we have to have those loud voices. That's why it's so important to hold their foot to the fire, because they're not going to just do it out of the kindness of their hearts. It has to be something they feel, this might threaten our bottom line. We need to make this change.
Absolutely, man. And we have beat this Madden horse to death here, man. We'll spend these last 9 minutes, we'll be brief because I got to get out of here at 10. And we'll talk really, really quick about NBA Live. But before I do that is, again, guys, just looking at some of y'all's comments, man, it proves it right there. Where I saw a question asked, if it was Madden 19 versus 2K19, what would you buy? And immediately a couple of you guys said, oh, 2K. But the thing is like I said last week, which game was better on the field, Madden 05 or 2K5? And if there was 2K making football all the way up until now, and 989 and Sony, what do y'all think Madden would be? Like, people act like that just Madden just wouldn't be able to. Where do y'all think Madden would be if there was competition? Like some of you same guys say, it needs to have competition. So I don't know how you can just blindly. I don't know, but that's your opinions. I'm not gonna hold you to it. But anyway, let's start with 205, man, because I know SGO and both Smitty had a chance to see it out at EA Play. But 205, man, really quick, is there anything that excites you about the potential of what NBA Live 19 might be?
I mean, I have EA access, so I can't wait until these games drop on there for the trial so that I can get some time to play them. But like I told some guys, I said, Live looks like it's coming back. Like, Live used to be the game. Even with 2K was out, Live was the basketball king. And I told people before, I said, if EA puts money behind this product, they can be kings again. The only thing that took Live out of the game is when Jordan got put on the cover, and they was able to see how he moved, and that changed the ball game. But ever since 2K12 and Jordan hasn't been on the cover, the game has been watered down, and it hasn't really done much for me. And I bought all of the NBA 2Ks up until last year. And I just got tired of the VC model. I got tired of all that stuff with my player and paying all this money just to get to a 90 overall and then grind and grind and grind and grind and grind and still pay more VC after grinding. I like Live 18. There was some issues I had with the dribbling. I think Smitty had mentioned that the dribbling is better. Is it, if I'm not mistaken, it's on the right analog stick as far as, yeah. So, but my biggest thing is with NBA 2K was always like you could ankle break anybody and go to the hole or shoot a three. And I remember, I think it was NBA 2K13 or 14 when just about anybody could hit threes from just about anywhere, and it was the most unbelievable thing in the world. It was like, okay, not everybody is Steph Curry. I just don't like games like that. And I would like to have an NBA game where there's some type of defense where you can't just drive to the hole, you know. And that's the kind of, you know, it's I kind of miss those old school games because we used to have the slam dunk contest, 3-point contest. NBA Live had the movement, it was a whole lot better. We need a better franchise in NBA Live. And, you know, we need to really get behind this game, and we need to push it to get competition so 2K can get better. And I wish we had competition for Madden because it would just make Madden better and it would make both companies better. So, yes, can Live do it? Yes, they can. On the court, they may this year or next year be better. I don't know if they'll be as good as far as the franchise mode, but if on the court is better and, you know, defense is locked down, certain things as far as animations are better and smoother, I mean, who's to say it can't? I mean, as much money as EA has, and especially when they took the dev team away from Madden last year, half killed me that they did that for 18, but we really need to push this game, and I honestly think it can get better on the court, and hopefully it will. And yes, EA, if y'all are listening, y'all really need to get some more devs from Madden because they don't have enough. I don't care what anybody says. They need more people over there to work on the game, especially with as big a franchise as Madden is. You know, we got FIFA selling over 10 million copies. Madden used to sell that much. So we need to get Madden just as high, if not better. And I'll let it go from there, man.
SGO, man. If anything, based off what you've seen personally and what you're hearing with the new information, is there anything that has you excited about Live 19, and do you think it has a chance to compete just on the court?
Yeah, I believe so. I think Live got back on track last year. This year they're making great progress. I think next year is going to be a huge year for them. This year I think they'll come in. Some people will give it a try, especially if they're competitive, in as far as the cost to the game. If they keep it competitive and maybe come in at a lower price and not a full price game, I think people will give it a try and they'll see like, wow, Live is getting there. And I think one big thing that they have in their court is the ability that the entry level was much lower. Like for me, as someone who's kind of a basketball novice, I can't pick up 2K and play. As far as there's just too many advanced controls. But Live, I can pick up, play, and have fun, and it's a much lower barrier of entry. So I think that's one thing they have in their favor for the mass market, for this the average Joe or just people who like follow basketball, that aren't hardcore crowd. I think Live is really gonna has a chance to make inroads with that market, and I think that's why they'll have success eventually in the future.
What you think, Smitty? From what you've seen, what you've heard, what has you excited, and do they have any opportunity to compete just on the hardwood? Oh, is Smitty still there? I think Smitty is gone. Looks like Smitty is actually asleep, folks. Oh, that's hilarious. Well,
hey, Smitty's out there working hard for the community, so sometimes it happens.
Hey, well, I guess that's the cue, man. I wanted to end at 10 anyway, man. Y'all know this is my why is it on Friday, but this is my one day I have to commute into DC. It's about a 2-hour commute, but I can't complain, man. I work 4 days at home, so let me stop complaining every week. Somebody hears this and did you hear what he said? And then I'll be going. But anyway, I'll give my quick piece, man, and now we'll wrap up.
Hey, Sim, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do y'all know when Madden and Live drop on EA Access yet? Is that been announced yet?
No, I haven't heard officially, but generally it's that Thursday. But I wonder if it's going to be the same because I think the Hall of Fame edition for Madden, that's Friday, I think it's a Friday. I want to say, because I think the game launches on the 10th, but you can get it on the 7th with the Hall of Fame edition. If that's the case, maybe they open EA Access a little sooner. And Live will have a demo. So I don't know how those time frames are going to fall in there. Not sure.
Yeah. Well, SGO, did you get a chance to check out NHL for this year?
No, they didn't have any hands-on for NHL 19.
Okay, that's really all the questions I had.
Yeah, man. But outside of that, guys, I'll say my piece really quick. I wish I could remove Smitty. I don't know exactly how to do it. I don't want to embarrass him here, but y'all know how it is. Hey, he's tired, man, and I'm not even laughing or tripping off of that. It's just all in fun. But I'll just say my quick thing about Live, and then we'll be out. I think they have a chance to at least offer another alternative, a real alternative. I think last year it had a chance, but what it was missing to me was the player movement, the stiffness. It's not fluid. You play Live 18 and throw in 2K 18, and it's night and day as far as the way they move. 2K is definitely going to be the giant in terms of features, modes, etc., etc. But I think if they have done RPM right in Live, look out. Because remember, the thing that Live had going for them is Live has more non-two-man sequence situations. They have less than what 2K has. 2K has a lot of, and I know they cleaned it up in 2K18, but they still had a good portion of sequencing when you get close, because that's how you make the game look good. I mean, most games do that. I think FIFA and PES are the best at getting away with that one-to-one interaction, but Live has been doing that for a long time, which is part of the reason why it's kind of ugly when they collide. But if the RPM, the real player motion, the movement is right, I think Live is going to be pretty good, man, on the court and the atmosphere stuff. How you can taunt and all of that. I'm interested to seeing what they got there. I haven't played it, so we'll see. And I will say, I hope that it is good, because I've always said that 2K is right there. They're that close for being all pretty near perfect game if they fix some of their legacy issues. I'm hoping Live will be good enough to push them, to take them even to the next level, and then everybody's happy. That's what it should be. It shouldn't be this 2K versus EA versus... I just don't live by that creed. I want all of the games to be good. And Madden just happens to be the only football game that we got right now, so that's why I put so many eggs in that basket. That's all we got, outside of the indie games that are coming. So that's it. Great show. At least I like to think it was. I want to thank 205 SGO for coming through. You guys know y'all are always welcome, and of course always thanks to my brother Smitty there. But we're gonna go ahead and get off of here, man. Spare Smitty anymore.
Yo, Smitty got me in tears right now.
Yeah.
Bro. Smitty, get some rest, bro. I
don't know how to disconnect one person, man. So I was scared I was gonna hang all of y'all up. Oh, last thing, let me say this, because maybe some of you guys can help me with this. This is what I'm looking for, guys. I'm going to get back into streaming soon, but I want to get a new rig, a new setup. If anybody out there, I'm looking for a PC that I will only be using for streaming, and to play perhaps maybe Madden and maybe another game or two on PC. That's all I'm using it for. I would like to be able to get this for $1,000 or less.
Oh man, good luck.
That's what I'm saying. So I want to know if anybody can offer something, because I don't want to, listen, let me be honest with y'all. I don't want to spend a bunch of money on a PC that I'm not going to be using primarily for gaming. I'm only streaming. Like, even if I played a game, it'll probably be Madden or something else. So I just don't want to dump a lot of money in something that's geared up like that to play on. I just want to stream. I really just want to be able to stream, have a more powerful system than the MacBook, a desktop. So if anybody has any recommendations,
if you build your own, you'll definitely be able to get that for probably like $800 if you build it yourself.
Yeah, that's what I've been told, man. Some people have been saying go ahead and build it yourself. Others have been saying if you could find a rig, buy one. So I don't know, but
hey, Sim.
Yep.
Sim D. I don't know. I was wanting to make another like YouTube channel, but put my videos that I have for the Red Zone over onto that one, so it'll be separated. Is that even possible, or do y'all even know if you can move your videos over from one channel to another one?
No, you have to re-upload.
Yeah, you'd have
re-upload.
You'd have to rip them from your own channel unless you still got the raw file.
All right, fellas. I definitely appreciate you guys having me on the show tonight.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys later. Have a great weekend, great rest of the week. And we'll be back next week, hopefully, with some more news. And for you guys who have the beta, rock out until July 2nd. Give as much feedback as you can, because there are some playing it. And I'm very much fearing their feedback. But anyway, that's going to do it, man. Y'all be easy. Y'all have a good night. We'll catch you next week. Peace.